Well, good Tuesday evening to everyone. How are you? It is good to see you, and it is good to be seen by you. Me, the person being glad to see and do the seeing and be seen, is Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere in the swamps of sunny Central Florida. How the heck is everyone? I hope you're having a good evening. Hello, Pauper Knight, Robert Phillips, Vinny Finnegan, Jack Photon, Dungeon Minister, Khalid, Michael Dale. Hello, 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 hello. And I hope you're having a wonderful time. We are going to play some first edition AD&D, but before we get into that, let me just remind you folks, if you haven't been here before, if you haven't stopped by, if you don't know what it is we do, but you find it interesting, please do click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. It is super duper helpful. We are at $63.99, I think, on the subscribatron. So if just one of you nudges us over to 6,400, we'll only have 600 subscribers to go to hit 7,000. And when that happens, we'll be at 7,000 subscribers here on the channel. So please consider driving us towards that goal, if you would. We have kind of a mellow night ahead of us. Some folks couldn't make it. D and Disability thing. Kyle is taking the evening. He's apparently having some issues. Doesn't want to lose his voice, so he's resting that voice tonight, and I can completely understand that. And we've got a couple of other folks out for various reasons, so we're gonna kind of run a bit of a shorter session tonight, but we are gonna play first edition AD&D. And if you're a new subscriber, if you are new to this, or if you're just stopping by, you're on the bubble, you're like, do I want to subscribe? What do they mean they play AD&D? What is all this about? We play first edition AD&D on this channel. We do it live. We don't have rehearsals. We don't have table reads. We don't have script sessions. We don't have seasons, story arcs, or characters. We play first edition AD&D, and so it goes. Tonight, 5 minutes into our game, there could be a TPK, and we're making up new characters. It could just happen like that. Just like that. Okay? We play the dice as they lay, as it were. And one thing I am going to tell you is that we don't we don't play favorites around here. No, we do not. But if you've got a question about what we do and about how we do it, please, by all means, ask. You can ask over in the live chat. If I miss your question, maybe somebody else in the live chat will answer your question for you. If they don't, maybe one of the players will catch it. If you see it go by and nobody really gives you an answer, please, by all means, ask again. Say, hey, I did ask why armor classes go from 10 best to, or 10 worst to 1 best. That's fine. That's fine. And I will do my best to answer, because I don't just want you to sit and pass it. This is not like other TTRPG shows. I want you to learn from this. We started playing first edition AD&D on the live stream as a part of the whole let's learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons streams that we used to do. And that's something I want to impart to you all. Maybe you'll come away from this feeling like, hey, I want to try some of that Dungeons and Dragons. I want to try that classic D&D and really give it a spin. So I legitimately hope that's the case. So whether whether you likewise sorry, just checking something. So, whether you have a question, whether you've got an insight or something like that, please interact with us in the chat, especially if you're coming. I gotta say, we have a great audience that comes in from Twitter. I'm looking now, and our YouTube folks, there's 24. That's awesome. There's 31 of you guys, at the very least, passing by on Twitter. If you're watching us over on Twitter, could you say hello? I will see it in the chat. I will definitely see it in the chat. I would love to hear from our fans who are over on Twitter. So please feel free to speak up. You may not be able to see the chat, and that is one thing I can tell you, is if you want to be active in the chat and interact with other people, you can come over here to the YouTube channel, and that's where all the live chat is. Unfortunately, despite the fact that I see all the views in one place, and I see all the comments in one place, you unfortunately won't be able to get all the comments. Hacko Mike, hi, hello, I see you over there. So yeah, if if you want to interact with the other people, and I understand maybe you don't, maybe you're more the sit quietly and enjoy types, then please come on over to the YouTube channel and click subscribe. That would be wonderful. Because I'm going to tell you something that actually fun that is going to happen when I hit 10,000 subscribers. If I reach 10,000 subscribers, I should say. I shouldn't just presume that it's going to happen. At 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to host a mini convention. Now, for those of you that have been around for a while, we actually have an online convention, the GWOC, the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. And that is a thing that I do. We host it over on Discord. The signups, Warhorn was great the first year. Well, no, Warhorn wasn't the first year. I don't remember what we used the first year. It was almost like a Facebook kind of interface. It helped, but I wasn't crazy about it. Then the first year Warhorn was awesome, and then the second year Warhorn was just kind of a hot mess. So we're going to be doing tabletop events, and if that's solid, we'll continue to use tabletop events. Christiana asks, do I accept second edition players as OSR players? I'm sorry, Cristiano. Well, Chris, if I may. However you come to the old school, whatever path you tread, you're washed clean here. So certainly, if that's your jam, then right ahead. Go right ahead. I will not fire anyone for having their preferred D&D unless it's 4th edition. No, I'm kidding. So yes, that's a perfectly cromulent question. But anyway, so we have the GWOC, Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. If my YouTube channel reaches 10,000 subscribers before I shuffle off this mortal coil, we will have the GWOC, the Great Underground Overland Gaming Convention. I'll figure out a venue. we'll figure out a place and we'll have some good times. Unlike the guac, which is online, it won't be free because I'll have to pay for the event. Thank you, Cristiano. I appreciate that. You keep hearing guacamole. Well, Jimmy, I mean, we've never been shy about the fact that guac is, guacamole. So you go ahead and embrace that. You live with it. So what's going on tonight? Now, I know that normally you guys would be saying, well, he's going to shut up in a minute and we're going to get started playing first edition AD&D. As I said, we have got a smaller group of adventurers with us tonight. We're going to start at the bottom of the hour, and we're probably going to run a little short tonight because I would like to have everybody here. Dooms, Kevin, Mark, Graph Paper, Thane, everybody here, and Tim too. Tim, if you're out there watching, buddy, we've kept your seat for you. I haven't let anybody use your beer mug. Please come on back. We miss you. Miss Bella, good to see you. So we'll be starting that shortly. It's not that much far along. It's literally like 15 minutes and change until we actually start the game, but it'll be a shorter session. One thing I will tell you, hey, Lord Misfit, how are you? I saw you over there. One thing I will tell you, and Savo, hello. We'll get Savo on the show one of these days. But one thing I will tell you is that's a good question, Gonzalo. That's a good question. Are we starting A3? Not tonight. Not tonight. It's coming soon, and there is something very cool that's coming along with it. But sometimes the A in AD&D does stand for accounting. Now, I'm not going to make you guys sit here for an hour while I do this, and you stare at the top of my head as I look at PDFs of the Dungeon Master's Guide and the module and try to figure out math. No, I did homework. And I actually came up with XP values for folks. Let's see, did I? That is not. Okay, I may have to dip over to my PC over yonder and pull up the correct the correct tallies. Let me see here. Let me see. I gotta look for this. I might have sent myself the wrong. Let's see. So anyway, these guys have been on a tear the last month. And I am trying to figure out. Let's see. That is not right, I don't think. Is that right? Anyway, I need to sort this out because again, The A standing for AD and or accounting in AD&D. Still, I have kind of an incomplete document here, and I don't want you guys to have to stare at my head while I do this. So I may have to step over to the editing PC where I have the actual treasure amounts. I saw that, Robert. That is wonderful news. Hey, Imperial Ramblings. Good to see 106 people watching out there. So let me see if I can pull this up. All right, that's not right. Is it in downloads? But anyway, how are you guys all doing? I hope you're doing very well. Let's see. It's not that. Now, I know a lot of people follow the Friday night Gamma World game. I'm sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. I know a lot of people follow the Friday night Gamma World game. This coming Friday is the last Gamma World game until the first Friday in November. Why? Because every Friday in October, we will be playing Call of Cthulhu. And I hope you guys are hyped for it. I'm hyped for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before I dip over to the editing PC to grab this document, I want to answer Sabo has a question here. Where's a good place to get a set of first edition rules? Used, new, semi-destroyed. Sabo, my friend, the best place to get them is Drive-Through RPG. You can get crispy new prints of the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Manual, and a Player's Handbook. All printed out, ready to go, ready to be used, loved, and abused. That is your best route. Second best route, buy the PDFs there, send them through Lulu, and get prints there. Third best route, find some other source of PDFs, which I do not endorse, and get those printed out on Lulu. And the worst route is probably to go to eBay and get them because you're going to pay an arm and a leg. I was talking to, who was I talking to about this? Someone just yesterday, actually. I think it was Odd Scimitar and I were talking. If you go on eBay, you are probably going to pay about $100 for a Dungeon Master's Guide of very questionable condition. I recommend just get the Drive-Through RPG reprints. That is what I would do. It's relatively inexpensive. It certainly doesn't cost new than modern RPGs. So I will ask you guys to pardon me for just a second while I get tonight's treasure list up and get it over here on this PC. So pardon me for just a second. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. And we are back. No elevator music. Sorry. I know some YouTube channels might do that. But yeah, I did not have the elevator music on. What can I tell you? Yeah. Alrighty, I got that in order. So let me entertain any additional questions that you guys might have. Christopher Sims did get bargain price D&D books modules 18 years ago. Yeah, I would say as recently as 10 years ago, perhaps 12, you could go on eBay and expect to pay no more than 20 or 30 bucks. Even Amazon used resellers, you could get modules, you could get rule books, you could get just about anything for reasonable prices. Now, the price of collectibles has skyrocketed and you can forget about it. You will basically pay an incredible premium. You heard me. You did not. I have a bidet anyway. I don't know what a bidet is. I mean, I know what it is, but anyway. Yes, Moot Ding wakes up every morning and chooses violence. But you know what? Let's take a quick look at that. That is a good thing to wrap up the half hour with before we go into the AD&D game. So let's go to Drive Through RPG. And let's see, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Drive Through RPGs search engine is garbage. Let's see. There. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this. Let's add this to screen. Actually, let me pull this out here so you guys don't have to look at a bunch of other stuff. Share screen, window, bop, bop. And there we go. And there are the player's handbook and monster manuals over there. But Savo, if you look here, a hardcover standard color book is $29.99 for the Dungeon Master's Guide. We go over here to the player's handbook, $19.99. And finally, the monster manual, $23.30. So if we add all this up, I'm not sure what this is in local currency. I don't think you're in the States, Savo, are you? But if we go $29.99 plus $23.30 plus $19.99, we get a grand total of $73.28. And that is, you get the core of first edition AD&D. Let me tell you something. If you're going to spend about 75 bucks on yourself, there you go, $10 a pop. And you can go back. You can send them through Lulu. And that is PDF plus print. So yeah, they are a few bucks more. I mean, if you don't want the PDFs with them, the standard color is $24.99. You can shave a little bit off of that. You can shave a few dollars, Highlander. Yeah, $21.50, $24.99. and $17.99. So yeah, you save like a grand total of like $7. So 60 something dollars, and you've got all three AD&D core rule books. And honestly, that is what you need. That is what you absolutely need with a capital N to play first edition AD&D. Oh yeah, Savo, these are retypeset copies of the originals. Okay. In fact, let me here, I'll put up I have these PDFs which I will put up on screen. Let me see. Stop sharing and let's go to the monster manual. This is what you get from Drive-Thru RPG. Now the covers are different, and that is a shame. I don't know why they screwed up the covers, but there you go. But you know, there's their tribute to the cover. But once you crack the cover, this is true to 1977. This is just like it was printed back in the day. There's your carnivorous ape, your axe beak, your giant ants, barracuda, basilisk, Bacillutherium, I don't know how to say that, giant beetle, black pudding, beholder from Tom Wham. It's all original art in all the books. So yes, you get everything. So let me go back through here. Do any of you run play-by-post AD&D games? We don't. Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Let me stop that. Kamikaze, I do not. If you join us over on the Discord, and I know you're on Discord because you and I talk on Discord. If you join us over on my Discord, ask. There may be some folks wanting to do play-by-post over there. Well, no, Bill, it's a scan of which printing. It's the original AD&D art. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what that. It's not a scan. The core three books are not scans. They are retypeset. The art is scanned from the books. The text is not. Now, later books they have done scans of, but these are not scans. These are retypeset. They went in to whatever graphic design typesetting program and redid everything, and then scanned the art. Very crispy, high resolution. It's a tad on the dark side. It's a tad on the dark side. 1977. Surprised the original print isn't on a cave wall. Well, and you know, unlike the first run through of scans, because this is, if you're new to the game, at lowercase g, if you're new to the game, you might not know that in the early 2000s, I'm talking 2002, 2003, Wizards of the Coast contracted a company called Bastion Press to acquire and scan AD&D books in. That was like 96 DPI or something like that. It wasn't great. There was text bleed through, and most of what you find floating around out there in places that we're not going to discuss are those scans. They were not great. Towards the end, Wizards of the Coast was giving such little consideration to the quality. They took over from Bastion Press and were scanning the stuff themselves, and the quality dropped precipitously off. By the time they were finished, it was obvious they were just holding books down on flatbed scanners. Terrible scans, not OCR'd at all, just awful. And then they threw a legal fit and pulled their entire Dungeons and Dragons library down in one of their seemingly innumerable PR blunders. So anyway, So that's what happened with that. But you know what? That's enough talk about that sort of thing. We've got us a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons to play. So let's welcome our players who are able to join us tonight. And let us bid a good evening to a guy. He's a great guy. Let me tell you, he's a great guy. I know this guy. I can make a deal with it. I said to him, let me make a deal with this guy. He's great. Everybody, please welcome. This is Doomsword Deathmaster. I assume he's a master of death, playing Durek Donagard. How you doing, man? And let's see who else is up next. We have Kevin is back as Don Drexel, or anyone else we need him to meet Puppet tonight, right?
There you go. Yeah, that's me.
And here's a guy who just doesn't know his building materials very well, because Lord knows you can't make a sound structure out of graph paper. Everybody, welcome Graph Paper Architect. Once again, likewise, playing any number of characters that we might need. So hello, one and all. Welcome, everybody, to the game. Last week, by the skin of your teeth, you had made it out of the slaver stockade with 3 dozen freed slaves. You had fled through the night and the day and another night until you finally began to come down into the headlands above the wild coast. No longer pursued by the foemen. Somehow you managed to get this convoy of shuffling, stumbling humans, halflings, elves, half-elves, out of the stockade, into the forest, through the Drakensgrab Hills, keeping them fed until you arrive at the headlands. And there is little trouble has come your way. Your cleric that currently survives is keeping them fed. Your men at arms are protecting them as best they can. On the 5th day of your journey, they began to awaken. Their senses began to come back. A great hue and cry of distress rose up amongst them, as though some veil were lifted off their face, and they awoke from some terrible nightmare. Calming them, you were able to explain to them that you are, in fact, taking them on a dash for freedom in one of the few bastions of law and order left on the wild coast, this close to the Pomarge, the city of Baracus along the coast. But it is going to be another 2 days journey as you travel. So having taken grievous casualties, Snake and Durek and Duran conduct the 4 men at arms and this group of over 30 freed slaves through the through the grassy lowlands above the seashore. The first day out of the hills and the forests in the Drakensgrab is fairly uneventful. Likewise, the evening. The morning of the second day. Who would be on watch in the morning? Please tell me. Anyone?
You're muted, Dooms.
Good old hardware mute button.
All right.
Gotta have
one here.
Yeah.
I've got one here on my soundboard, but I can reach it a little bit better than having to reach on the back of the
Yeah.
mic. So what do you,
Well, the problem is I can't see it, and
Right.
StreamYard don't tell me. Anyway, yeah. What I was saying is that Dirk would be on first watch, and that's in
Okay.
fact what his last name represents, is that he guards the dawn.
Okay. And you should also know that your one of your men at arms, more if you ask it of them, will also stand watch with you. As the dawn of the last day before you get to the city of Baracus begins to break, the sun coming up over the bay, the purple light begins to sort of filter through the fog, and you can just see, situated between two low dunes, what appears to be a palisade of some kind. It is perhaps 300 yards away from you. You're find yourself being feeling quite fortunate that you didn't stumble upon this place at night, but that you in fact camped some distance away. So with that information in hand, Dirk, what do you choose to do?
And that would mean that there's no sign of activity from his perspective or anything like that. Like we're outside of it, and
Yeah,
it seems
like
to
I
be
said,
safe where we're at.
you can very faintly smell like maybe someone's cooking with peat or damp wood, something like that. But other than that, you don't see or hear anything on this side. The palisade wall itself, as it presents, goes about maybe 30 yards and then curves around to either side.
All right, I shall finish the morning prayer and proceed to the remainder of the group. Well, there's not much of a remainder of the group. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'll let Duran know. I don't want to startle the peasants, right? So I'll let Duran know. Ho there! I'll wake him up, and point out the palisade off in the distance.
Okay.
It looks like we stopped just in time.
All right. So what do you gentlemen choose to do?
We could skirt this place far and wide. However, we are in dire straits. We have these people to look after. Perhaps I shall go ahead and see where two I have gone.
How about it there, Kevin?
So these ex-slaves, when you say they're awakened, they're waking, like they're almost normal.
They are normal now.
Okay, so they're human beings again and not just drones. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any chatter from them, or
they're all asleep.
okay.
They're lying in the sand on whatever makeshift rucks they could make out of the scant supplies that you guys have. They barely have clothes.
Yeah, I realize that. So okay, it's going to be a little bit challenging to herd those cats, but I guess we'll have to do that when it happens.
Indeed, perhaps we should leave some men-at-arms behind. Perhaps you and I go, and two of the guards.
Yes, that sounds like a good plan.
And we shall inform the others to keep quiet and not awaken the slaves to prevent any sort of undue nervousness about the situation.
Okay, GPA, is Snake going to accompany the party?
Yeah, Snake is going to go ahead and truck along with them.
Yep.
Help keep them herded up.
Okay. Alrighty, so you guys are taking 2 men-at-arms, leaving 2 men-at-arms, and proceeding to the palisade, yes?
Yes.
I think that's correct.
All right. So the sun has just started to rise as you are returning. Apparently there is some kind of gate or fence opening in the palisade, because stepping out into the early morning sun, you see a large humanoid figure carrying a bucket or a pail. Doesn't look in your direction. It's got a long tool. You're not sure what it is. It kind of scrapes at the sand for a few minutes, empties the bucket into it, then scrapes the sand back over and staggers back inside, and you hear the gate close. Now this creature was maybe as tall as a bugbear. It didn't look like a bugbear. It didn't have the disproportions, but from 300 yards away, you could definitely tell it wasn't person-sized.
This does not look good,
Mm-mm.
especially at minimal strength.
No, don't like this at all.
Well, and he's apparently just a lackey, as he's doing what seems like menial work there.
That's a very fine point. I would take you for a military strategist if I knew it, if I didn't know better.
So, is there any kind of cover at all to approach this place? Like, if we follow the right flank or left flank of before the gate, or is it open? Is it open prairie kind of stuff?
It's rolling dunes, essentially.
Mm.
I mean, there's
Maybe.
tufts of seagrass between here and there, and there's certainly dunes that are close to it that would allow you to, if you kind of serpentined around before you get to it, you could be under the cover of a dune.
That sounds like a good idea.
Stay
Perhaps
low
we should. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you'd say stay low, belly crawl up behind some grass tufts, and see if we can get a better look at least.
Yep.
Indeed we could. Watch how we do, however, if the force seems to be unsurmountable.
Well, we may have to divert. Hopefully they don't send a search party out.
Indeed.
I don't think we can deal with these with our group of followers in tow.
Mm-mm.
Indeed, I agree completely.
Yep.
It is a matter of intelligence, not a lack of valor.
Yeah. They'll definitely probably panic and run off, and then we'll be we don't have the men to catch them should they decide to do so. So yeah, let's approach and see if we can find if they have sentries or other things.
Fair enough.
Okay. So you approach carefully, and let's see here. Let us see. We're gonna make sure that DD Dice is working, and hopefully everyone will see this on screen.
Nice.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
DD Dice is working for me. But that is not the die roll I was going to make. I am actually going to roll a hidden roll that only I can see.
Behind the screen.
All right. So you approach. You think you're fairly undetected. As you are approaching, out of that same gate, for lack of better term, and the closer you get, the cruder you can see this place is. It is logs of driftwood. I mean, it does look sturdy. It just, looks fairly primitive. There are rocks, actual logs, a couple of old ship timbers, that sort of thing. The gate, for lack of better terms, swings open, and out step a couple of ogres holding halberds as long pike staves. One of them calls out in its crude voice, in its crude language rather, and the gate swings shut. And they proceed to lean against the gate on either side and chatter at each other. One of them reaches into a bag hanging on his side and pulls out a joint of some unknown meat and starts to chew it, tearing out bites.
So can we surmise that this is what came out earlier, or do they look different?
You may surmise as you wish. Ogres are 8, sometimes 9 feet tall. And what you saw earlier was at least as tall as a bugbear.
Okay. Ogre centuries. It's looking worse and worse, as I think.
Yes, that answers that question. It is folly.
Probably best to find some other way.
Well, there's around.
Can we see the road from here or not?
No, you are still a little ways away from the
Okay.
the coastal road. You're perhaps a day away from the coastal road.
Okay.
I say that we must remember this spot and return when we are better armed.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Take them when we don't have 200 slaves to herd.
And when each man counts for 3. Yes.
Any markings we can see on their armor or on the building?
They're not wearing.
Give us...
They're not wearing armor. They're wearing hide tunics and
okay,
and that sort of thing. As you've been observing them, the one that is eating that joint of meat finishes apparently what he wants and throws the bone. It flies through the air and lands. It arcs over and lands near you guys, and you can see the glistening white bone. Looks suspiciously, perhaps, like a human's upper leg.
I'm not liking that.
I'm not that hungry. Let's get out of here.
Wait and see if does he look after the bone or does he just throw it away casually? And
no, he just tosses it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This apparently bothers the other one because as you guys are moving away, you hear angry grunts. They're apparently having some kind of a disagreement with one another.
Good time to leave.
Testing.
Agent Joe says, "Get the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce." Never, sir. Stubbs or Carolina Gold or nothing. Duke's
Stubbs
Carolina Gold. All right, so you're heading back to your camp, some 300 yards away, elsewhere in the dunes. And as you arrive, one of the 2 remaining men at arms back at the camp, who's been helping keep this lot quiet and sitting still, says, I'm guessing by the expressions on your face, they're not friendly, my lord.
Indeed, they're not. They're a scourge upon this earth.
They seem to have a good taste in barbecue sauce, though.
And they shall be dealt with rightly when the time comes.
We'll drown them with it.
So, if we lit a fire in the camp, they would see it from where we're at. Or
yeah,
not?
I mean
Okay.
the weather is clear and cool here on the coast, so yeah.
We're gonna have to be pretty diligent and let these others know that we need to be careful when we break up the camp.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. And we have had the discussion with them where they know that if they were to wander astray, they are no longer under our protection. We can only do what we must.
Oh yeah, no. They are sticking to you guys like glue. They know they owe you their lives, and again, they barely have any clothes. They actually drew lots to see which of just the women would get something approaching full coverage. That's how little stuff they have. It's only by dint of you guys now being in more or less softer sand on the coast that that those without shoes aren't suffering. And that's even with some of them having gotten shoes by cutting up some of your saddlebags. So you let's see.
Yeah, we make really sure they understand. Light no
Yeah.
fires, take no action.
All right.
Noise quite well down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep your yap shut.
All right. So you
So nice.
maneuver your way through the dunes, everyone keeping their heads down as though the ogres lurk just on the other side, waiting to strike them off with a club. And they work along the path that you take them through. And you realize you must have left the ogres behind you at some point, because you neither see nor hear from them again as you journey through the rest of the day. And soon enough, you do come to the coastal road that takes you straight into Baracus. You reach the postern gate late in the evening. The guards are initially not ready and willing to allow you in, but when you show the tokens that Gord and Geller had given you, they readily open the gate. And they do ask, you're going to be responsible for this gaggle, right?
Only
We've
so
been
far as when they're
responsible.
inside. Once they're
And we've been responsible for them all along.
but
Of
once they're
course.
inside, they're on their own. I'm not taking responsibility if any of them go to the pub and cause trouble.
Do not encourage them. I'm sure they thirst. However,
Okay.
I've seen men in these situations before, and they can feast themselves to death.
All right.
True. So is there a temple to your god here, Turek? Should we take them there to get aid?
There's a temple to Fortis, yes.
All right. So at the Temple of Foltus, again, it is in the evening, and so temple activity at night in the Temple of Foltus is very it's very subdued, because Foltus has lowered his face. He has gone to ponder and consider the firmament elsewhere. They regard you, Durek, and this lot, and say, "Are these all faithful of Foltus?" And immediately some of them start saying, "Well, no, I follow the old religion. I worship Beery. I'm an adherent of Heronius," and so on and etc. There are almost as many different religions represented here as there are people that you have. The majority of them seem to be either Barry. There are a few followers of Saint Cuthbert, and a few followers of Heronius, and so on. But perhaps only 6 of them follow Fultus.
We did not mean to disturb you. That was not the intent. We figured we would stay here outside, as all must do before they enter the temple of his glory. We have rescued these people, and we do not expect you to take them in. We only expected to stop and speak with you.
Of course. What matter do you wish to discuss, my son?
Primarily the disposal of the remains of our friends, for they were honorable and they did the right thing in times of great negative circumstance.
I see. A burial in the churchyard. That is the tithe is 20 silver apiece, unless you want more than a simple marker for them.
Indeed, and that is understood, and it can wait till tomorrow. For now, do you know of a place where I might take these individuals that they may rest?
This many?
There
are but a few travelers' inns. I do not believe that the sailors' hostel will accept them. It's usually quite busy there. You could perhaps find one of the travelers' inns that might willingly put them up.
Will it be acceptable if we stay outside the temple for the night?
Oh no, not at all. The court just there, and he sort of gestures at an area outside the fane. Certainly, I will ask that you hold our beliefs here on this holy ground as sacrosanct. Permit them to conduct no rituals of apostasy or heretical beliefs.
Oh, indeed not.
Then
at stake.
Then go in peace, my son. May the everlasting light of Fultus guide you, and if you have aught to ask on the morrow after the ablutions and prayers before the dawn, then you may re-enter.
Thank you, brother.
Of course. So you comport them to the sward, and given that it is fairly well kept, what they've been through thus far, this is like it's still camping, but it's luxury camping for them. We'll go ahead and make a general check here.
So now they're glamping.
Maybe a little bit. So nothing disturbs you in the evening in the churchyard. And actually in the morning, there are a few acolytes who come out with baskets of bread and some porridge. And they have a big tureen of porridge and some clay bowls, and people are crowding around them. And as they are standing there, the prefect, whom you had been speaking to, steps out and says, now, I realize that all of you are of different faiths, but please let us be observant to the power of the sun. The power of the sun helps the grain grow, and the grain creates the porridge. The power of the sun nourishes the grass, which the cattle consume, and they create the cheese. The power of the sun makes the grain grow, and it creates the flour, which creates the bread. All comes from the living sun. Those of you who wish to hear more about it, please approach. So yeah, he's kind of leaning into the, can I convert any of these people? These people are leaning into the, can I get a hot meal? But again, the few followers of Foltus that are amongst them are nodding right along with his brief sermonette as he feeds them. And as they are sitting on the grass eating, some of them nodding and listening to what he has to say, some of them belching and scratching their stomachs and already dozing off, he comes over to you and says, will you be as you are of the Order of the Radiant Sword, will you be tithing now that you are here from your campaign, son?
Indeed, of course. However, I would like to deal with the situation first, so that I may pay proper respect. I know not why we have these people. We stumbled upon them. I was drawn upon, or into this mission, rather. I was drawn into this mission by those who are no longer with us. And I am not certain, but perhaps my friend Duran, he's a priest of a false deity, but he is a good man.
Well,
Perhaps he knows a bit more. I know not where to return these people or what to do with them, is what I am saying. I am a valiant servant, but a humble one.
I see. So I know that unfortunately just to take a quick time out, Mobius, the player, left the game. Duran was his character. Duran was the last member of that original group that went all the way back to Keep on the Borderlands, which is quite some months ago. But Duran tells you, yes, I can accompany you to the manor that is held by Gord, and tell him, I can inform him of how our mission has proceeded, even though it's cost us some casualties. And my apologies to Kevin for jumping in to drive you there for a second.
That's no problem.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Darren or DAA Ron has his great food and water
Yes.
prepped, and he'd be using that to help the group. Although it's not sufficient, right?
Well, it has been sufficient to carry you from, with repeated memorizations and castings. It's been able to carry you from the Slaver Stockade deep in the Draken's Grab Hills and back here to the church. So yes, it's absolutely sufficient. But yeah, these weirdo Fultian priests seem to be satisfied with cooking stuff up without your magic.
Well, they probably have lasagna, and I'm going to have simple food and water. But hey, whatever. To each their own.
Okay.
They are helping our people, and I have to agree.
All right. So now that these people have been comported to relative safety, Duran, are you going to seek out the manor of Geller and Gord, and your new boon companions accompany you?
Yeah, I'll tag along. Let's go find it.
Yep.
All right.
Indeed.
And how about Derek? Are you accompanying also?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Gord is not present. Geller is, and he tells you pointedly that he actually is in when you knock the I see footman or butler or some kind of attendant at the door introduces you, and Geller comes out, and his face kind of falls a little bit, and he says, I am pleased to see you, my friends. Don't mistake this, but I am keen to hear from Gord. He is away on other business, and I should hope to hear from him soon regarding that. What news from the slaver stockade in the distant Draken's Grab.
There is much news. I'm afraid we have not met. I am Dirk Dongard, Knight of the Order of the Radiant Sword.
Oh no,
Follow the God Foltus.
I know of you, Durek. I've spoken to some of your church elders, and that you have joined Duran and his allies. That actually pleases me greatly. Duran, how fares Circumference and of course your little sneak thief friend.
Yeah. Circumference and Grimsby fell in our efforts to clear and rescue the slaves we've brought with us here. And there are no more. We're working to have them laid to rest, perhaps tomorrow or the next day, whenever it's appropriate. But we lost many. In fact, more than half of our group was fell. Sadly.
Yes, it was quite sad. For a brief moment, though, we were graced by the presence of a fantastic woman, Lady Morwyn. She was a magnificent creature, twice as beautiful as a Valkyrie and just as fierce. And she fought bravely and with heart and valor, but sadly was no match for the evils that we faced with a great peril.
I forgive him. He took multiple wounds to the knee.
I see. Well, you have acquitted yourself well. So
were you aware?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Apologies, sir. Were you aware of the magnitude of the situation? It is more than I expected. There was an upper level, much evil, and it was by design. It was organized, and there is a lower level yet to explore.
Yes, the slavers have become a seriously organized threat. They used to be confined to a sea fort here or there and a few ships raiding along the shore, but they seem to be hell's bent on establishing their own fiefdom for whatever reasons and with whichever allies. I cannot dare but imagine. Duran,
indeed, for this is nothing less than a castle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, ages ago, before the Pomarge fell to evil, there were many such outposts that goodly kings and princes held watch over the lands, but that the slavers would have turned one to evil. That does not surprise me. Duran, you have suffered greatly in the name of this endeavor. Taking your reward, I free you from any contract or bond to myself and Geller and our employers if you wish to if you wish to seek fortune elsewhere.
I believe we have a personal commitment to our comrades to return and attempt to completely wipe out the blight, but I would have to talk with my companions here, and we would have to get some reinforcements before we even attempted to readdress the site at all.
I will say, Duran, it seems that your purpose is best suited elsewhere. I've prayed on it long and hard. That does not mean you are not welcome.
You may certainly do as you will, Duran. I will not impose upon you to continue this quest. You have been stalwart these many months, but if circumstances draw you elsewhere, I will understand. Although before you make any decision, let me ask you this. As you did in the city of Highport, did you acquire any documents?
I don't believe we have the same level of document detail like we did in the previous, but we did have some on one of the fallen companions. I know Grimsby had taken some, and we haven't researched or looked through those papers as of yet.
Well, if you don't mind, I will take those over from you, and anything that you've taken in terms of treasure has been earned by blood and is yours and yours alone. If you require aught to be identified, let me know, and I will set about to discovering its nature. Furthermore, as far as allies, good Durek, let me tell you that a small band of adventurers departed just this morning inland. It seems that a patrol from Baracus had heard a rumor from passing travelers that they had seen ogres near the seashore. So I do know that a band that I was considering on hiring as reinforcements to send after you into the Draken's Grab has gone to assess the situation with the ogres. When they return, or if you wish to attempt to catch up with them, you may tell them that I beseech their assistance for you to continue your campaign against the slavers.
Indeed, that is most helpful, for we know of this place. We
You
saw
know
it
of
and
it.
wished for such reinforcements. Indeed, we found it on the way, west of the road.
Excellent, excellent. I will send a fast outrider to hopefully catch them. They just left on the morn, and have them return to the city thus. I don't suspect that they'll be back any sooner than the evening, but if they if you and they can dislodge those ogres and then continue your campaign, do you intend to return to the slavers' stockade and continue to investigate and usurp them?
Of course, our mission here is not done. First, we shall vanquish the ogres. We shall meet up with your group, and we will continue upon the task that we agreed on. We will need Duran to stay behind to watch after these poor souls and nurse them back to health, which I think is your true calling, Duran. We shall bring our soldiers with us.
Very well.
I would agree with that, and maybe get some respite at the same time. So
Your service is never underappreciated.
I do hope that you discussed the slavers with these new potential comrades, or has it been just solely for the ogres?
I only knew, I did not dispatch them myself. I have, he reaches up and touches his patched eye, my eye on interesting folks who enter the city here. And I had not had a chance to discuss matters with them, but hopefully they know of me and the outrider that I send after them, unless you yourselves wish to ride to them, will inform them of my desire to bring them under my employ.
We do, however, have items that need identification, as you had mentioned. If that's something we can get some assistance with, our Marius, our mage, had fell as well, and we don't have that capability in the group.
How about this? It sounds like we will need to be fleet of horse in order to meet up with them. Rather than send out an outrider, we will leave Duran with you. We will leave the treasure with you, such as it is, for I must tithe as well. And we shall return upon vanquishing the ogres or dying trying.
Okay. He agrees to this. He says, however, whatever tokens you found, I can easily identify on the moment, depending if you'd like to lay them out before me.
Very well. Let's see what we've got here. So we've got some brass bracers. And,
Okay.
and thank you very much, Mark, even though you're not here, for making this list. It's badass.
I actually do have the treasure list here. So the brass bracers, he says, these are common. Nothing extraordinary about them. What you have that Geller can tell you is magical is the gemstone you found in the skull of the weird stuffed bear trap.
Okay.
An obsidian wooden disc with a feather carved on one side, 2 rings, a clerical scroll, which Duran, you can look at that and go, oh, that's a cleric scroll. A potion of diminution. I'm sorry. Well, I gave that away. Another potion. The 2-handed sword with which the man Icar was armed. A 3rd ring that he was wearing, and a wand of some unknown ability. So Geller picks up the gemstone, examines it carefully, and says, this is a lucky find. This is a periapta proof against poison. A most fortuitous find indeed.
And
which one was that? Sorry.
It was the gem.
It is the gemstone.
Okay,
it's
so that was the gem.
periapta proof against poison.
It's D26 on Grimsby's sheet. Mark sheet.
Right.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Next.
What about go ahead and I'll notate and I'll turn off
just
my
going
mic.
down. The obsidian disc with a feather carved on it is a Qual's feather token. It is the fan. Basically, it can generate once per day as a gust of wind. I'll give the details on that.
We could do that ourselves. We don't need a token for that.
Actually, I think you can generate once and then
wrong
it's
kind of
expended.
wind.
Damn.
All right.
Foiled again.
Okay. The first of the 3 rings is a ring of warmth. A ring of warmth.
That's the one that was found by the fireplace, I believe.
The next ring that you find, or the next ring that he examines, I shouldn't have done that in the open, but I did anyway, is a ring of fire resistance. That's the one that Icar was wearing.
Well, that explains that.
Yeah, that made it. So that's why he didn't care.
Yeah, that's why he stepped right into the fire and was getting ready to throw burning grease at you guys before you hacked him down.
That's not a bad thing to have if you're going to be a chef.
The first potion, is a potion of diminution.
Okay.
The next potion is a potion of undead control. Man, he's had some really good bardic identifies, but Icar's,
that potion would be thrilling.
Icar's sword is it is a 2-handed sword +1. The third ring is a ring of fire resistance.
So there's 2 of those.
We had 2 of those.
No, you had a ring. Wait, was it a ring of fire resistance? I think I wrote that down wrong, because I don't have nearly the right. I'll have to go back and look as to what ring that was.
Yeah,
and
the only one that, the only one that's on Mark's sheet that we didn't have question marks next to was just a normal ring.
Okay. Oh, I know what it was. It was a potion of fire resistance. Sorry, it's a potion of fire resistance.
Oh, okay.
I think we already have it marked, don't we? Dooms.
The potion of fire resistance.
Yeah.
I didn't take. Oh yeah.
D12.
If that's
Or 13.
if that's the same one, we've already got it.
Yeah.
And last but not least is the wand is a wand of opening that functions as a chime of opening without the monster summoning ding.
Nice.
It doesn't ding. That's nice.
It does not make the chiming sound.
Bing bong.
Okay, so I've got, just since we're going through this, and to reconcile this, I've got a magic sword from a hobgoblin. Thane's character took that a long time ago, so I don't know what that is. He held on to it. He didn't want to use it instead of so it wouldn't be able to be identified. And then we have a unknown loose scroll.
Okay, I think the unknown loose scroll was the cleric scroll, and the sword that he gathered, we'll have to get back to him. It's on Circumference's corpse, which you guys carried out with you. So you'll have to go back across town and get it, and we'll cover that in the next game.
All right, cool.
when I have a chance to look it up. So each surviving member, each of you receives. Now this is for the treasure that you guys got, which I have added up here. This is just the cash and the monsters. Each of you receives 1,580 experience points for the money and the monsters. Okay. The cleric scroll, if you'd like to make notes on what is on the cleric scroll.
Okay.
And you know what, Kevin, I'm just going to leave this up to you. Is Duran taking the cleric scroll when he retires?
I think he's earned it.
Okay.
So that probably would be a fair cut.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Right. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right. So Duran departs with the cleric scroll, but I will tell you what's on it. First of all, it is worth 1,500 experience points. It does have some not inconsiderable spells upon it.
Holy word, gate.
Yeah.
Resurrection.
Yeah, five castings of true resurrection.
Oh, God.
Unfortunately, it's not resurrection; it's reincarnation, and this one's focus is squirrels.
Yeah. Let's see. So the cleric scroll. Let me see. Where is it? Kitchen. Car's quarters. Okay, so the cleric scroll has, and this is just anecdotal since Duran is taking it into retirement with him. Wind walk, cure light wounds, feign death, cure serious wounds, purify food and drink, resurrection.
Oh shit!
Oh,
So
Nice job.
I don't think he can use it very successfully right now, but yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so that then leaves the treasure. Who is going to take the periaptive proof against poison?
I'm sorry, Bill. One moment. So these papers detailing slaver route to city town,
Yeah.
and the Draken's grab, that should go off of this sheet, right? Because is that what we handed him?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, he will absolutely inform you of what's on it, but
Okay.
And we want a copy of Grimsby's map, right? Although he can have it, We
Oh, yeah.
want a duplicate of that because we don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
Since
He
we're
will.
returning.
He will have his he will have one of his assistants put a new parchment together for you, because this one is, there's grease stains on it, smudges,
Bits of Grimsby.
Yes,
yeah.
Grimsby, some more Wingu.
Some
Yeah.
oak leaf. Yeah.
Some oak leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of oak leaf is on it.
Oh boy.
All right, so periaptive proof against poison. Who's taking that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's kind of only me, so we should avoid splitting this up now. We must make haste.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, this is kind of meta here. So
Right. So, I mean, but okay. So, from a meta perspective, I don't want to give none
Snake-
of that stuff to the NPCs. So
Snake's
we give
not-
them something.
Snake's not going anywhere.
Right.
Okay.
Snake is going to continue playing.
Yeah.
And, and
Right,
Mark's going to
okay.
be Snake, even though he'll have a new
Even-
guy.
He's eyeballing that sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's eyeballing the sword.
Even if
Okay.
Right now the player is not present, he will be back at the camp guarding, and I'm entirely sure that Tim would want Snake to have something. So
For sure. Can he use a two-handed sword?
absolutely can use a two-handed sword.
Right. So he gets two-handed sword
Yeah.
and at least one of these potions, right? And a
Let me
ring.
get the sheet up.
I mean, or I don't know.
Wow, the
Whatever
protection
Snake
plus one
wants,
ring.
he's
There's two of them,
obviously
right?
done his job.
Is this
Uh,
right? Am I reading this right?
There was one that Marius had, and then there's one that these guys gave us as a.
Yeah, but that's not. We are just talking about XP doles out right here.
Okay, you're talking about new magic that just got identified.
I'm talking about new magic
Okay.
that just got identified. So
Yeah,
I can
that's
hand
the
you guys
meta
some
you mean.
XP.
Okay.
Right.
So
But I'll take the parry out.
all right, that is 1,500 XP to you.
Okay. And the rest is up for grabs. Snake takes the two-handed sword. We've got a
So
potion
that
of
is
diminution.
two-handed sword is 400 XP. Potion of diminution is 300 XP.
Maybe I'll take the potion of undead control.
All right. That is a potion of undead control, and that is 700 XP.
Wow, that's a pretty good potion for XP.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that is pretty good.
And that, by the way, there is actually a table that is rolled on to see what kind. So that is ghasts. You can control gas. And the way undead control works is basically you drink it and then you cast a charm person on undead that normally can't be charmed. So even skeletons, if you had a potion of undead control skeletons, you could cast charm undead with that potion. So Paul's feather token.
Right. And does Snake, as an aside, does Snake want a ring of warmth? I'll take a ring of fire resistance. And I think
warmth is
after
always
the
good.
Qual's feather. Yeah, and after the Qual's feather token, we'll be done. Except for that unidentified sword.
Let's see. The Qual's feather token. Is Dirk taking that?
I suppose.
All right. That is 500. The ring of warmth is 1,000 XP. The ring of fire resistance is 1,000 XP. And last but not least is a wand of opening, which is usable by any class.
Snake.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I could use it if we don't have any more
You're
lock
normally
pickers.
opening the doors.
Yeah.
Right, and you're normally opening the doors anyway if we can facilitate
Yeah,
that
this will
being
make it a
easier
little
for you.
easier. I would like that.
Indeed.
Sure.
Save my shoulder. Ugh.
Geller tells you that there's about 16 charges on it. It's not an exact science. So the wand of opening is going to net you 3,500 XP, Snake.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Is there anything special to it? do I just tap it 3 times or turn it a circle, or what do I do?
It's basically it's range touch. You tap the object that you want to open. At least I think it is. It's actually one of those things that doesn't show up in the Dungeon Master's Guide or in Unearthed Arcana. I looked and it drove me crazy. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, this probably got covered in Unearthed Arcana. Nope.
Encyclopedia Magica, then.
I will hit you. I will come to where you are, and I will hit you, and I will not stop hitting you.
I don't have that on my shelf. I used to have that right over there.
It's those are spendy these days.
Yeah, they are.
Or it's a collectible, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the faux pleather plastic covers.
Well, there's actually 2 versions. There's the pleather version, and then there's the perfect bound type. But yeah, they're not. It's not AD&D, so at least not this version of AD&D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it has to be struck against a locked or bound object, and it opens it similar to a knock spell.
Nice.
Awesome. I like it.
So I think that finishes all of the loot. Now there are pieces that are, like there's a gold ring worth 25. Are you guys just going to sell it all off? Like just get rid of all your coin?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could do that, right?
Just keep the gems because they're easier to stash, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
So
coins or gems.
So we've got values for all the gems and jewelry except for those brass bracers. But we can liquidate coin. I don't know from this sheet which coin was new coin though, and which coin has been around.
I can tell you what you guys got out of the hill fort if you want. I can do that right now.
Yeah, I'll delete anything that that goes away.
Or maybe append it.
Yeah. In this case, I'm looking at this. This looks like it's largely what came from Grimsby and from Marius, right? And Circumference.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think this is the other stuff, but I may be wrong.
Okay. Well, we'll append it. Do you want to go ahead and do that, Kevin? And then
Sure.
That way we can separate our work in here.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Let's see.
Actually, I'm going to put it underneath. I was putting it below. That's probably a mistake. That was not a good idea. It's this one.
Okay, so the total, the cash total, and this was included in your XP, I believe, when it was divided out. Because remember, even though your comrades fell, they did help you in the slaying. Although the loot really goes to. All right, well, I'll double check the math later on this. But anyway, the cash, just the cash, comes out to 4,740
gold pieces.
Yeah, that's the value of it.
Okay.
And in the between now and next week, I will check those values for you guys and make sure that you get the total correct values. I did do my math, but it's been a while, and sometimes I can't follow my own shorthand. So, shame about Circumference fighting the Cloaker by himself. I think that would have netted him a nice chunk of experience points on his own. But anyway, yeah, so you guys have your treasure, you have your XP, and next week you will be riding out to catch up with those brave soldiers of fortune who have gone to try and deal with the ogres. Thank you guys for sitting in this evening. No city encounters, no trouble with the ogres, and we did a little bit of accounting. Like I said to the audience, sometimes the A and AD&D does stand for accounting. Now, as far as next week goes, Wednesday of next week, this is for my players and for my sake, Wednesday of next week, I have an appointment that will basically keep me out of circulation all day Wednesday and possibly all day Tuesday. As we get closer, I will let you guys know. Hopefully we'll be back next week to play AD&D. Otherwise, it will be the week following. We're going to have some fun tomorrow night. Kyle is TQT right now, but hopefully he will be back in not too long of a time. And then Thursday, we got John Popson will be on the show of Effin' Cool Games, or Effin' Cool Miniatures, rather, talking about an awesome new TTRPG Kickstarter he and his partner have got going. And then Friday, we're going to play the final Gamma World game before we launch into Friday night Shocktober Fridays for Call of Cthulhu. So I'm hype and looking forward to that. Thank you to my audience. Thank you to my players. We have 251 people watching us tonight, guys. And that is all kinds of awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Doomsword. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Graph Paper. Thank you, audience. And on that note, I'm going to tell you, even though these guys hold a lot of loot away, they need to keep both their hands on it, because you can never be too careful when there's owl bears lurking about. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.